A great brand is something that people have confidence in. People like the name, they like what it represents, they like the quality of whatever the product may be. And over years and oftentimes over a long period of time, it becomes a great brand. I think the Trump brand has become a great brand in a very short period of time. We're unique in that it's a top brand, one of the top two or three brands probably in the world, and it happened not like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or some of the others that are more typical. It happened over a short period of time, relatively. To build a great brand, you have to be very conscious of image and what you're doing and where you're going and the quality of your product. And what happened with Trump is I started with the best locations. I built buildings that turned out to be very successful in the best locations. I then really focused on not only the location, but the quality of the building, the windows, the floors, the rooms, the kitchens, the whole thing. And I now have a brand that gets 30 to 40% more per square foot than anybody else in New York. I mean, if I have the same product in the same location as somebody else, I'll get 30 to 40% more per square foot. If I were going to give career advice to somebody, it would be that you have to love it. You have to really want it, and you have to love what you're doing. There are so many people that are forced through family pressure or something into doing something that they don't believe in, that they don't like. You've got to go after the kind of a job you like. You may love the airline business. Now, the airline business is a terrible business, but you'll probably do better within the airline business if you love it than you will in a better business than the airline business if you don't. So you have to go into something that you like. There are many stories of people that became successful later in their life by doing other things, and they got out of something that they didn't like. And one of them is a friend of mine. He was a failure on Wall Street. His family was very important and big on Wall Street, but he wasn't cut out for it. He wasn't tough enough for it. He probably wasn't smart enough for it. And he was a failure on Wall Street. And all of his life, he was just born to be on Wall Street, but it didn't work out that way. So he stayed, and he didn't do particularly well, but he stayed and stayed. And I used to tell him, just go out and do something else. But then what happened is, at his golf course, they made him the head of the greens committee. They were redoing all of the fairways, all of the greens. And they did it really because they felt sorry for him and nobody else wanted the job. And he did a spectacular job. He was there at 5 o'clock in the morning with the contractors. He worked really hard. He wouldn't get home till 8:30 in the evening. He loved what he was doing. And I told him, you ought to go out and build golf courses. This is what you're good at. And he laughed at me. He said, Donald, I could never do that. I have to be on Wall Street. I'm expected to be on Wall Street. I have to be on Wall Street. I said, yeah, but you're not happy and you're not good at it. He said, it doesn't matter. I'm expected to be there. Well, he went back. He was miserable. And ultimately, about 5 years ago, he developed a golf course building business where he renovates and builds golf courses. He's doing a spectacular job. It couldn't be better. He couldn't be happier. It's the first time in his life he's doing well, and the first time in his life he's happy. Many of my most important learning experiences were outside of school. Now, again, I'm a great believer in education. I'm highly educated. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. But I think that many of my greatest educational experiences have been outside of school, learning through combat. I call it learning through combat. You learn by taking your lumps. You learn by winning and by losing. And you know, losing's not so bad, okay? I hate to lose. More than anybody I know, I hate to lose. But ultimately, you learn a lot if you're smart. And the big thing about losing is you have to contain your losses. You can't let them destroy. I have a friend who's a great gentleman who built a company that was a great company, a series of 20 years, just small acquisition after small acquisition, and if one didn't work, it wouldn't destroy the company. In the later years, he bought a company that was much bigger than the company that he had built, and it wasn't a good deal, and it destroyed the company. And one of the most talented people. So you have to make sure that your losses are containable, that your losses are contained, because if you can do that, when you have losses, and I don't care who you are, the smartest guy, I think back over my career and I say, I can't believe I did that deal or this deal or that deal. The smartest guy, the best deal maker, they give me credit for being the best deal maker. The best deal maker you make bad decisions. You can't help it. The economy changes. You buy something, it's a great deal for 3 months, and then all of a sudden the economy crashes. There's a terrorist attack. There's a problem. It's not even your fault. Nothing to do. A lot of things happen. You have to be able to contain your bad decisions. You have to be able to contain your bad deals. When I was in my worst moment in 1991, I owed billions of dollars. I had nothing but problems. There was a meeting, and we had all of our top executives, and they were all struggling with the problem of debt and difficulty. And I came in, and I started talking about new deals, and I didn't even realize it. They told me what a great impact that had on them. But I came in, and I was talking about a project that was into the future, and they were trying to get over the past. And in a way, I think two things happened. Number one, it was a little bit inspiring for these executives, but also it gave me freedom. It made me whole. It let me continue to think, not about just the bad things. It's a little bit like the great power of positive thinking, Norman Vincent Peale. You're thinking about the future, even though you have some really big problems in the present. And you know what? That's not the worst thing in the world. It keeps your sanity. It keeps you sane. I was always a big believer in education. I mean, to me, going to the Wharton School was a terrific thing because it taught me that I was just as smart as anybody in the top school in the country at the time. So education to me is a very important element of success. Now, it doesn't have to be so formal as Wharton or Harvard or Stanford or any one of the other top schools. It can be a lot less formal than that. But education and learning is a very important ingredient to success. Without learning, you're not going to see what's happened in the past. You learn from other people's mistakes. Sometimes I make mistakes. I learn from them. But I'd much rather learn from other people's mistakes than my mistakes. If I made a mistake and I learned from it, that's fine. But if I could watch somebody else make the same mistake that I just made, that's a lot cheaper and it's a lot better than me learning from myself. So education is amazing because you can learn from other people's mistakes and from other people's successes. The one thing I've learned over the years is you have to love what you do. And I don't care if it's not even as good a business. You have to love what you do. You can go into a really good business and not love it, and you won't do as well as going into a business that's not as good where you do love it. So you have to love what you do. And the other thing is you can never, ever give up. You just can't quit. I think a great entrepreneur, first of all, has to be born, and this is one of the things that perhaps is not the best thing to say, but an entrepreneur has to be born with a good brain. You have to be an intelligent person. If you're not an intelligent person, I would advise you to turn off your sets right now, to close your books right now, go out and get a good solid job and relax, enjoy your life, and be happy. Because if you're not born with the brain power, it's not going to work. You know, there's an expression that if you talk too much, there's nothing to learn because you're just hearing yourself talk. I've seen some of the smartest people that I know are people that do a lot more listening than they do talking.